Imagine undertaking a home renovation in Sri Lanka, upgrading the floor tiles, installing a sleek wash basin, and even upgrading a rain shower. The likelihood one of those brands is Rocell. Royal Ceramics Lanka PLC, or simply Rocell, is the leading brand in Sri Lanka for bathroom and kitchen tiles. Rocell's annual report for the fiscal year 2024-2025 and 2025-2026 reveal how the company has developed and strengthened its market leadership in the Sri Lankan ceramics and surfacing industry. Let's take a closer look at how Rocell has accomplished such an impressive market presence within their home country. A quick history first. Roselle was founded in 1990 as Royal Ceramics Lanka and listed on the Colombo Stock Exchange in 1994. Today, Roselle Group operates as a group of 28 companies operating in five different sectors: tiles, sanitaryware, aluminium, packaging, and finance. Rosell is also part of a much larger company, Valuable One PLC, one of the largest company groups in Sri Lanka. Rosell employs upward of 3,500 people group-wide, making it one of the largest employers in the country in the industry sector. Now let's take a look at the vision, mission, and strategic direction. Let's start with the vision and mission. Rosell vision is to remain the undisputed leader of both the local and international surfacing and bathware industry. Their mission is to provide state-of-the-art surfacing solution to their customers, innovating their products to ensure that they remain satisfied with the company's offerings. This is a fairly classic vision and mission statement. Typically, companies will state their vision in terms of desiring to be the market leader globally. Rosell has done a great job of including four pillars to their company: a desire to be leaders in the market, a focus on innovation and design, diversification of products, and the focus on sustainability in the global industry. These are not accidental aspects of their company. Each of these pillars relate to specific aspects of the company that will be discussed in the plan that follows. Thus, their vision and mission are not merely displayed in their company but also act as an operating manual for the company and its employees. Let's look at the external and internal environments, where we will do some analysis on PESTEL 5 forces and VRIO and SWOT. Now let's zoom out of the environment in which Rosell operates. Sri Lanka hasn't had the most peaceful of years recently, but the economy is starting to turn around with the implementation of IMF recovery guidelines, the stabilization of the rupee, and the interest rates finally starting to ease. The PESTEL analysis of the industry revealed that the economic and political policies of the country have the most impact on Rosell. Import tariffs on products like tiles and sanitaryware will have the most impact on its pricing structure, especially the growth of the urban middle class that desires homes with design interior is to Rosell's advantage. The company has invested in technologies like digital printing technology and the Rosell Design Studio to ensure they remain on the cutting edge of the available technology of porcelain tiles. However, the environmental impact of the company is the opposite. The energy consumption of the company's clean is of concern to both the company and the general public. Looking at Porter's five forces in Thailand bathware industry, where rivalry among competition is very high, intense domestic rivalry between Rosell Lanka tiles, Lanka wall tiles, and Dankoto porcelain, along with Mac tiles, and also we need to factor the tiles which were imported from India and China. Threat with new entrants is low to medium, high capital intensity because of cleans, land, gas supply, and entrenched distribution deter new local entrants, but import-based new brands can enter easily. Bargaining power of the suppliers is medium because resilience of imported gas, glazes, and machinery raises supplier power. Bargaining power of buyers is medium to high, uh, where large contractors, government projects, and mega distributors negotiate on volume based purchasing compared to homeowners. Threat of substitution is medium because alternates include natural stones, vinyl laminating floors, and low cost unbranded imports. Earlier, we looked at the five forces analysis, which revealed that there is high competition not just from the companies within the group, but within the same category, but also from companies like McTiles and imported tiles from India and China. While the clients of Rocell have considered considerable power over the company, the entity of new local manufacturers is not easily accomplished, which provides protection to the company. Rocell's resources that cannot be easily be replicated by others in the industry include both its brand and its relationship with Valuable One. Both of these resources are valuable, rare, difficult to imitate, and the company is organized to take advantage of these factors. The organization's distribution network is also strong and nearly hard to imitate, but not as strong as other factors. The manufacturing technology is essential, the same for all competitors in the industry. However, thus Russell's main source of competitive advantage are its brand and its relationship with Valuable One. This is one this is also reflect in the SWOT analysis for the company that we have done, and you can see here. Let's look at competitive strategy. So, how does Russell actually compete on a day-to-day basis? This is one of the most and more elegant solution to the problem of how to compete. At the group level, Russell has a dual brand differentiation strategy. Rocell itself is the differentiation brand. It targets a segment of architects and wealthy homeowners by offering high-end designer showrooms and collections. The other brands under the group, Lanka Tiles, Lanka Wall Tiles, is a brand that exists at a low price point. This allows the group to better cover the demands of the overall industry without compromising the differentiation of its premium brand. This is one of the most elegant solutions to the cost versus differentiation problem. Looking at strategic moves, timing, and scope, now let's talk about the big bets the company made in 2013. In 2013, saw the acquisition of Lanka Ceramics PLC, which gave Rocell PLC the brand Lanka Wall Tiles and Lanka Tiles. This gave the company a dominant position in the local market. The timing of this acquisition is important and reflected in other acquisitions by Rocell. For instance, 2014 saw an acquisition of Rocell Private Limited in Australia between 2020 and 2022. The company amalgamated Royal Porcelain with CP Holdings. Finally, Unidil Packaging recently entered the Kenyan market in 2024. Rocell also invested around 4.2 billion rupees into its group capital expenditure for financial year 24-25 in all tile sector capacity. This represents the significant investment in increasing the capacity to meet the demands of the market, which began to experience growth against post-pandemic. This intention to invest a significant rate into capacity for the tile sector demonstrates Russell's understanding of the market and the importance of having the capacity to supply the market with the products that it creates. Thus, the company's decision regarding both its acquisition and capital expenditure reflects their understanding of time and scope as the meaningful strategic lens. Now, let's take a look at corporate strategy and diversification. Now, let's go through a level up to the corporate strategy and diversification decisions behind Rocell. Using the Ansoff matrix, Rocell has pursued market penetration through showrooms and the designer studios, product development through porcelain and glass mosaic, market development through the exports pursued earlier, and diversification into the aluminium construction and finance sector. The diversification into the aluminium sector and the packaging sector both use companies that Rocell already works with in the construction industry. However, the stake in LB Finance PLC is not related to the demand for construction tiles. However, all of Rocell's 28 companies are under the umbrella of Valuable One. This way, the company can diversify without losing its focus on its own area of production. Thus, this diversification strategy serves a specific purpose to de risk the cyclic company it is not implemented for the purpose of empire building. Moving ahead, having a look at people, organization, culture, and leadership. Strategy on paper is one thing, but who actually runs the show? The structure consists of a lean parent board consisting of valuable one above the Royal Ceramics Lanka board below, with each subsidiary managing itself. Rocell Bathware, Lanka Volatile, Swiss Tech Aluminium, and Unidil Packaging all have their own management teams managing their operations. This structure is the ideal form most conglomerates struggle to perfect. The leadership of Valuable Group consists of Mr. Harsha Amarsekara as the chairman, A.M. Amarsekara as deputy chairman, and Mr. Arvind Pereira as the managing director. A few aspects of the company culture stood out from the reports published by the company. For starters, the pride that the company has for their products is evident from the company's use of the phrase built to endure. In their communication, the governance of the company is evident in the fact that Rocell Bathware has won Gold Award in the National Annual Reports Awards multiple times. Finally, the company's focus on sustainability in operating has been developed over the years as dedicated in their implementation of environmental management systems and their alignment with the newer SLFRS sustainability reporting standards. The company culture is more than just a series of value posted on a company website, but is also reflected in the awards that the company has received and the quality of their reports on operation. Overall, these aspects are a good reflection of the company's actual culture rather than the superficial presentation of the culture that is posted on their communication platforms. Looking at the financials and organizational performance, okay, now that we have gone through the strategy, let's look at the financials. Revenue for 2025 was 60 billion, but by financial year 25-26, that has grown up to 68 billion, a growth rate of 13.5%. Profits grew by 5 billion to 7 billion, a growth rate of 38%. The net profit margin grew by 8.5% to just over 10%, indicating that the capital investment made during the 2025 financial year was finally paying off. Key ratios and shareholder returns. Earnings per share grew from 4.56 to 6.29, again almost exactly in line with the growth of the company's profits. Therefore, the strategy regarding Tata Group's business passes the test, a solid pass at that. The strategy, based on increasing capacity prior to the industry revenue recovery, the dual brand strategy to increase competitiveness, and the diversification of revenues all paid off in financial year 2025 and 2026. So, recommendations and takeaways. Before I wrap up, if I were advising the board on this company, I would have made a few suggestions. First, to diversify the company's exports beyond the construction cycle in Sri Lanka. While there are export offices in the United States and Australia, they are small by comparison to the domestic company. More rapid scaling of those companies would reduce the risk of dependence upon one country. Second, while the company has detailed plans to hedge against rising energy costs through the use of renewable energy, it is important to note that the plants currently use gas fired kilns and that the country relies upon imported energy resources. Overall, then the company has a vision of leadership that it intends to achieve on a global scale. The use of both brands as competitors provides it with a competitive advantage. The corporate strategy provides for growth with purpose. The organizational structure provides for both control and agility. And the financial statement for the fiscal year 2025-2026 indicate that the company is experiencing both revenue and profit growth, that the company has achieved such growth with such a plan is the more remarkable aspect of the company's structure and strategy. Until we meet again through another episode, uh, take care. God bless.